How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. So as you know, my name is Daniel Segovia. I am a student at CCSU. And what is your name?
My name is Tommy Progano, and I am 20, and I go to school in Mitchell College in New London.
New London? Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know that. So we are filming this in East Hampton, Connecticut.
Yes, we are.
And this is Humanities 230, Italian American Culture. So, where are you from?
So my family comes from two sides. One is Irish, but the main part we're going to talk about today is my Italian side.
Mm-hmm.
So my father came from Italy in 1989.
Wow.
He was born in 1964. So he came here, I think it was his 20s, 18, 20. I think that's the age he was around when he came here. He came here because he wanted to find a better life, obviously make more income.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the opportunity in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's from Girifalco, Italy, in Calabria. If you don't know where that is, the biggest town in Calabria is probably Catanzaro, so it's close to there. And then a big tourist attraction place by my dad's town of Girifalco is actually a beach that is called Silverato.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful beach, so if you don't know where Girifalco is, you might want to check out Silverato or Catanzaro, because those are also two great places by where he's from.
Okay, and you said this was southern Italy,
Yeah, southern
right?
Italy.
So
okay.
Is it on the Greece side?
No, it's going down towards Sicily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on maybe on the edge of the boot.
So here's the boot, and then there's this side. He's on the side going down towards Sicily.
Oh, okay, that's
yeah,
really.
So he's on the boot, kind of. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Greece is on the other side.
On the other side, yeah.
Okay. And so you're from East Hampton as well?
Yes.
And obviously go to Mitchell College. Any jobs or obviously you worked at your.
So my dad obviously owns an Italian restaurant. So I work there, bus tables sometimes, help him out every now and then. I also work with my aunt at a funeral home in West Hartford. But my brother, both my brothers actually help cook in the kitchen.
Oh, wow.
At the restaurant, Cantina Restaurant in Middletown, so he owns that. He went to school in Italy to learn how to be a chef for 4 years.
Wow.
A culinary school. So
Wow.
he didn't go to college, he just went straight to culinary school out of middle school. So 14 to 18 he was doing that. So then after he figured that out, he decided he wanted to open up a business here because it's much easier to do that in Italy. But yeah.
How come it's easier to do that in the U.S. compared to Italy? Because how come he didn't just stay in Italy with his parents and then just open it in Italy?
He told me there wasn't, where he's from, it's a very small town. A lot of people aren't really going out to eat every day.
I see.
So it's not really that much money. There's not that, the economy's not great where he's from. But he decided that, obviously in America, there's this thing called the American dream, and you can make tons more money than you can in Italy. So once he heard about that, he thought, his cooking skills were so good that what he developed, that he would put them to use over here. So yeah.
And also because it was a small town where he came from.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't too much commerce as in terms of Middletown.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of people.
Where he's from, it's very, everyone has their own, small farm. Everyone cooks their own meals every night.
Everyone provides
It's for themselves. It's very old country Italy,
Yeah.
not very modern,
Yeah.
So that's why he decided to.
Okay. And so, any family members were there any family members that came before, like in the 20s or in the 1800s, or your father was the first?
So my father, before he was married to my mother, he had a wife in Italy.
Oh, wow.
So I think he got married when he was 18, and he had a son when he was 19. So that's another big reason he came here. But so my older brother Tony was born there as well.
Okay.
So he was born there, and then obviously his mother was born there as well. So the only other person that came here other than my dad is my older brother Tony. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So all of your family is back in Italy.
Yes, grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles, all back in Italy. Yeah.
Wow. Have they ever came to the?
Yeah.
They came to the U.S.
They've came here a couple times.
That's cool.
But it's just hard because my grandparents are a bit old, so they don't like to fly. They can't sit on the plane for that long. So usually we go visit them.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's really neat.
Yeah.
I actually never knew that. I knew you'd visit them.
Yeah.
That's, you know, on
Actually
stories
going
and
in
stuff.
January 1st of 2023.
Oh,
So.
okay. And don't you go every year? You go every year,
We
right?
try to.
Oh, okay.
But we're going in January this year, and then we're going again in August in the summer.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. And so, how was your father when he first opened up? You know, obviously, it's tough. You know, to open up a business is probably rough at first, but yeah. How was that?
So
Opening
when
up
he got here, his wife at the time, she spoke English, and she had actually lived in America a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
She moved back to Italy when she was a teenager. So they had a place to stay. They stayed with her parents in America in Hartford.
Okay.
And he actually worked on Franklin Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
So it was hard for him because obviously he spoke no English.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to find an Italian place, an Italian restaurant, so that he could maybe the owner spoke Italian or something. So he did that, and then after he ended up working in Hartford on Franklin Avenue, I forget exactly what the restaurant's name was called. I think it was La Stella. I think it was. He was being noticed by other restaurants all around the area because he was so good at his craft of cooking, and like he really knew what he was doing. So it was hard for him at first because he couldn't speak, but because of how gifted he was, you know, cooking and how many orders he could get out in a night, you know, he could just do mass amounts of orders and, you know, still keep it coming out. So he actually picked up and got really fortunate to get picked up by bigger restaurants. More people started to trust him, you know, take care of him. So it was very nice. And then sooner or later, through the years, you know, I think it was like 2 years, he spoke English pretty good, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just by being around.
Yeah, just by being around everyone.
It's almost similar to, even though it was 1989 when he came over, it's almost similar to right back, you know, when immigration first started, you know. You want to find, you know, your fellow people, in this case fellow Italians, because you want to be comfortable. And it worked out great because he knew people here, and that's literally how it was 100 years ago. And that's so fascinating how it, you know, 1989, and it's still kind of the same, you know. So, but he always wanted to open up a restaurant.
Yeah, he went to culinary school when he was 14. In Italy, obviously, you know, the food culture there is very big. You know, everyone thinks, you know, Italian food is, you know, amazing. It's like I think it's one of the most popular foods.
Oh, yes.
I think it's one of the most popular. And over there, everyone cooks every night in their house. So through doing that, you know, you just automatically develop this sense of, you know, a love for cooking because you're doing it every night. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. That's really neat. So, like you said, there's no relatives in the United States. It's just your father. And Tony still lives in the U.S.?
Tony's still here, yes.
Oh, okay. What is Tony up to?
Tony works at a middle school. He's like a security guard.
Oh, wow.
In Middletown, yeah.
So
he's doing good for himself.
MHS?
I think it's one of the middle schools.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. I don't know what the name of the school, but I know he works there, and he also helps out at the restaurant.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you see him often?
Yeah, I see him often.
That's
Every
cool.
time I go to the restaurant, he's there, you know, either helping my dad in the kitchen or, you know, waiting on tables, whatever you know.
That's cool. So, what did your grandparents do back in the old country? Like, or what have they done, and what are they still doing?
So my grandfather had a very big farm.
Okay.
I been there a couple times, and he does a lot of fruits, vegetables there, peppers. He has these spicy peppers there. A lot of animals there, you know, chickens for eggs. You know, obviously, they do slaughter the animals on their farm.
Right,
you know,
right. That's how
it's old school Italian. You know,
right. I know that's how
they get their own meat a lot of the time. So they have cows, pigs, you know, goats, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he did that kind of to, you know, support the family for food. Cows for milk, stuff like that. Grain, they harvest grain. But his main job was he actually worked construction in Switzerland.
Oh, wow.
So because there's not that much work to do in southern Italy.
Yeah.
A lot of people actually go to northern Italy or Switzerland or just leave completely. So he went to Switzerland. He worked there for 44 years. He
Oh,
was,
wow.
He was building houses.
And he would come back and forth,
back
obviously.
and forth. He would drive from Zurich, Switzerland, back down to Zurich, Falco. Yeah.
That's so neat.
Yeah.
That's so neat. And so he was, obviously, how did he first start? Well, just like you said, he was looking for work,
Yeah.
and that was one of the opportunities.
Yeah.
One of the biggest
So
opportunities.
he was born, obviously I don't exactly know the exact year.
Right,
he was born,
right. Early 1900s, or
probably like I think
Maybe?
19
40s?
1938, 1939, somewhere around there. One of those 2 years. And when he was in Zurich Falco, it was even more, small town than it is now.
Mhm.
So there was really nothing to do. So he
Right.
had to go. It was an opportunity. When he was 17 years old, graduated high school, and he was like, "Yep, this is the opportunity I got. I'm going to go to Switzerland,
Right.
learn to be, learn to build houses." That's what he did. And then my grandmother, she really just took the role as like a stereotypical role as a woman in old school Italy.
Mhm.
She just, worked the farm, took care of the kids, which is extremely important.
Mhm.
Very amazing lady. She went to the farm every day, picked the vegetables,
Wow.
did this, cooked every night.
Did she have any help, or was just?
Yes, my father,
Okay.
when he was a kid, and his brother Rocco, my dad has a brother named Rocco.
Okay.
And then they have a whole bunch of first cousins, and they would all go help down at the farm too as well. Yeah.
But besides family members, it was pretty much just her and the kids working the farm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
hmm
That's wild. And Rocco, what is he up to?
So Rocco, I think he works at an insurance agency in Catanzaro. So it's
Okay.
about 15 minutes outside the town. It's the big city in Calabria. So that's the very big city.
Okay.
It's like the Hartford of Connecticut.
Okay.
That's basically a good way to describe it.
Okay.
And he works on the computer. He a lot of computer stuff, insurance, stuff like that.
That's cool.
So yeah, he's
That's
doing
cool.
well.
Do you know what was going on with your family during World War II?
Funny you actually asked that because I was talking about the Ukraine-Russia war with my father, and he said he's talking to it about his family, with his family, over the phone.
Yeah.
And he actually didn't know that in World War II, his town, his mother and father actually had to go into bomb shelters
Oh my
because
gosh.
obviously Italy was under the dictation of Mussolini.
Right.
So they were, with the Nazis at that time, but they didn't want to be, it was just more force, a dictatorship.
Right.
So
right. They didn't have a say.
They didn't have a say. So therefore, the English were bombing, carpet bombing, Jerry Falco. So there was times my grandmother was, my great grandmother had my grandmother on the farm with her,
Yeah.
and they had to run into a bomb shelter because they could see the planes coming and they were getting bombed.
Oh my god.
So there was they had a lot of sirens go off for
Very.
bomb threats. My grandfather was actually a soldier in the beginning of World War II.
For the Italian.
Yeah, for the Italians, and he actually got shot in the leg.
Oh my gosh.
He got shot in the leg, but as soon as they killed Mussolini, it was over.
Right.
So they stopped, and thank God for that. He got shot in the leg.
But you said that he got shot in the beginning of the war?
He got shot in the I don't know exactly when, but he got shot in the leg. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Do you know? Are you familiar with which campaign it was? Whether it was the North
I
Africa.
have no idea.
It was in Italy.
It was in Italy. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But I have no
Okay.
idea.
Because I know that the Italians were in North Africa
Yeah.
when the war first started. They invaded Ethiopia, but okay, so this is later in the war.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's wow. That's
Yeah, he
unbelievable.
got shot in the leg, but yeah.
And then he was probably relieved of duty because with an injury like
Well,
that.
they stopped the war anyway because
Okay.
they killed Mussolini, so they didn't have to fight anymore anyway.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Are you familiar with your family during World War I, or that's probably too far back?
Too far back.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I know it's a little off topic, but I call her my grandma, but she's not my grandma.
Yeah.
She's pretty much my mother's best friend, Suzanne, right? It's her grandmother, right?
Yeah.
So when my mom, she was 18 years old and she left the house and she needed a place to stay because she was going to college, she stayed at my grandma Evelyn's. I call her my grandma, even though she's not, but she's pretty much like a grandma to me and my sister. She took care of me and my sister when we were younger. And a fun fact is, she, back in World War II, she was probably around our age, and she actually worked in the factories in, I believe it was Essex or Old Saybrook, around that area. And it was I believe it's like a piano factory now, but back then it produced airplane parts. So she worked there. Anyways, though, she dated, I believe this was before the war, she dated some, I forgot his name, but he was some entrepreneurial guy, right? And he had some money, and he literally bought the son-in-law's car of Mussolini. So Mussolini's son-in-law had a car, and he sold. It was like a Mercedes, and he had bought it. And my grandma, she looks at it, she's like, this thing's ugly. This thing's a piece of junk. When are you going to get rid of it? And it's like this expensive car. Really? So that's just a little fun fact. I just learned the other day when I, my dad and I took her out to eat, and I couldn't believe it. There's so many different, with your story, it's crazy how, we're so many years ahead. And
sometimes you still find a connection.
Right, and there's all these connections. It's unbelievable. Yeah. But just a little fun fact I wanted to share. That was a really good talk. And just want to check the time here. Do you know what time we started?
We've been going.
Okay, that's probably good. Oh, here I am thinking. Let's see how much time we got. No.